Today I'm going to be talking about dark and light, good, bad, the shadow aspect of ourselves. And if you're somebody that has naturally been a people pleaser because your upbringing, your childhood, maybe someone dimmed your light in the past or told you to be quiet, because that's what happened with me. I'll never forget my cousin. She didn't mean any harm, but I was so sensitive as a child, and I remember she told me to be quiet, and that day forward, I was not who I truly knew I was, and I dimmed myself. I used to tell stories all the time, and I'm pretty sure each of you have that origin story of you can't do this, or you're too loud, or you're too much. And you go to elementary school, maybe you got bullied, or maybe someone made fun of you for something that you truly believed in. You know, we all have these stories that have formed us into who we are. And especially in middle school, even high school, everyone's trying to put on a facade or an act of who they actually want to be perceived as. And that's really dangerous within itself. And for whatever reason, it always seems kind of like once you go off that path, maybe you don't hang out with people you used to, or maybe you actually find your own interest, you come into this level of, oh my god, I'm actually understanding who I truly am. I actually have desires. You know, maybe you're into cooking. Maybe you've always been very interested in, video games or video editing. Or maybe you just have very different hobbies. I don't know necessarily why the millennials grow up later. I feel like Gen Z, maybe Gen X, Gen Alpha, they have a better start when it comes to boundaries and self-awareness and actually sticking up for themselves. But for whatever reason, the later generations, they tend to push things over, or they don't like confrontation as much. And when it comes to the shadow aspect, when you start embracing confrontation, and I'm not talking about, oh my god, yelling or screaming at someone, getting into arguments, but when you actually start to confront people about issues that you have with them, that is basically transmuting that people pleaser energy into the shadow self of yourself. That is basically going to allow you to embrace your shadow self, and that is all it has ever wanted. It has only ever wanted you to stick up for yourself and to protect and to love and to value yourself. And the way that you do that is by having these strong boundaries of things that you tolerate and things that you do not. Every single time that you confront somebody head on for something that you didn't like, or something of how it felt, or even just being extremely vulnerable about your emotions and expressing that wholeheartedly and truly, the better and the faster you will gain all of these aspects of yourself that you have given away to other people. You're calling all of these aspects of yourself back. And once you do that, you will genuinely feel fulfilled. Peace, fulfillment, that is something that you always have with yourself. And the reason you may not feel super whole or super fulfilled or super at peace with yourself is because you deny your shadow elements, that shadow aspect of yourself. It's everything that you suppress. It's, oh, I'm gonna stay in this relationship because it feels okay at certain moments, but deep down inside, I know it's not really for me, or maybe that person is super disrespectful, and you just take it. And you deny your shadow self of coming to the forefront and being the one in charge at certain times. It's all a dance. The thing for me, what truly helped me was, and I don't condone this behavior at all. I mean, I was in a super toxic relationship. And when people are like, oh, narcissist, whatever. Yeah, I'm not going to get into it. But honestly, that relationship helped me so much because I was not respecting myself at all. Like, I chose to be there. I chose to stay in that. I was not a victim. Yes, there was super messed up things that happened to me, but at the end of the day, I still kept going back until I just couldn't take it anymore. And the moments that I was like, I'm leaving and I'm done, and I actually stuck to that, that's your shadow aspect coming up and sticking up for you. The more that you embrace that, the more that you call all of these aspects of yourself back. And I mean, like I said, I don't condone this, but being in that relationship did show me how somebody that does put themselves first, how they react and how they stick up for themselves regardless. Like, yes, I'm saying it was not the best relationship, but just witnessing how he would stick up for himself and say what he wanted basically allowed me to stand up for myself, and I learned that lesson from him, and I carried that into my other relationships of dealing with confrontation and saying exactly how I felt in certain relationships. For whatever reason, I had to go through that. Like, anything that's very triggering for you when it comes to these elements of being bad or being seen as shameful, you should really look at, because those are blind spots. We all have them. I used to genuinely, wholeheartedly think that I was such a great person, and that's how I needed to be. I needed to embody the truest light of everything. I needed to be so good, and I couldn't make any bad decisions, and that just wasn't what living was, because that's not embracing all these elements of myself. I've been through very embarrassing moments in my life. Why do I feel the need to make myself feel small because of that? Or I've wanted to express myself in certain ways, but maybe society deems it as, oh, you're seeking attention, or, you're coming off in a certain way that you shouldn't. No. Like, all of that is trying to put you in a box. The moment that I genuinely, wholeheartedly was like, okay, what are the things that I have always wanted or always embodied, or maybe I never even knew I liked these certain things, and I started embracing, dressing the way that I wanted to dress, showing up in a way that I never shown up before, leaving whenever I truly wanted to leave, having conversations. This is a big one. You know how you're in a large group of people and everyone is kind of having the same talking points about a very specific subject, and in your heart and in your soul, you feel the complete opposite about this situation. And old me in the past would have been like, oh, let me not say anything because I'm going to be perceived or they're not going to like me. No. The moment you have that feeling of like, I don't agree with that, and I'm going to express myself because I don't agree with that, that's the good stuff. That's the magic stuff. That is you calling your shadow aspect to the forefront, and it is going to express itself. And it doesn't have to be in a hostile way either. Just expressing and saying how you feel will literally make you feel so fulfilled within yourself, because you're truly showing up in your truest, authentic form.